I like to thank Yahweh for bringing us here once again. This holy Sabbath, Kadesh Sabbath. Kadesh is Hebrew holy on the Sabbath. Yowm, to be with Chanak, his sister, his brother, his sister, to be in, not saying the congregation of the assembly. Like we all are ministers to ourselves, to others, and that's what it is. And like the brother Lafayette was saying, we never get tired of hearing this word. Day to night. While you're dreaming, sleeping, it's all good. And this temple is just like our temple.
We're glad that you have tuned in. We will be beginning a new lesson today. Let's start out in the Old Testament in Joshua, the 22nd chapter. Joshua, the 22nd chapter. And the title of the lesson is, This Day We Perceive that Yahweh is among us. This day we perceive that Yahweh is among us. So on the pathway to the kingdom, the devil will tell us that when we make a mistake or a misstep, that Yahweh is not with us. But we are not going to listen to his lies because he is a liar. And we perceive that Yahweh is among us. Joshua, the 22nd chapter. Let's start reading at verse 28, please. Joshua 22. Let's read verse 28.
Praise Yahweh.
Therefore said we that it shall be, when they should so say to us or to our generations, in time to come, that we may say again, behold, the pattern of the altar of Yahweh, which our fathers made, not for burnt offerings, nor for sacrifices, but it is a witness between us and you.
All right, so now here we're looking at the tribes of Israel, and there were some tribes that made an altar. And there was a misunderstanding about the altar, where the other tribes thought that they had built this altar to start shaka, or worshiping a false Elohim. All right, verse 29.
Far be it that we should rebel against Yahweh, and turn this day from following Yahweh to build an altar for burnt offerings, or meat offerings, or for sacrifices, besides the altar of Yahweh, our Elohim, that is before his tabernacle.
All right, so it says, Elohim forbid that we should rebel against Yahweh and turn this Yahweh from following Yahweh to build an altar for burnt offerings, for meat offerings, or for sacrifices, beside the altar of Yahweh Elohim that is before this tabernacle. So this reminded me, the Ruach quickened it to me, this reminded me of the star that we had.
Okay.
And there was even a time that we had it in the window, and people did just like the children of Israel did here, jumped to the conclusion and said, oh, they're Satan worshipers. Not once did they come to ask or to find out. And I appreciate the question that was asked by the brother. But it's good when you ask a question that you also get the resolution of it. And you come back to the same people that you asked.
That's right.
So then they can share the revelation. So that's what Yahweh did last Shabbat, and shared the revelation. But here they assume that, I believe it's the Reubenites, the Gadites, and the Manassites were building an altar to a pagan deity.
So they thought.
All right, so there were people that made assumptions about when they saw the star that the brother graciously made for us and donated to the temple. Then they just assume we're Satan worshipers. So again, that's what happens sometimes when people don't understand. In this walk, you're going to make a mistake.
Yeah.
When they brought the woman caught in adultery, well, she wasn't doing it by herself.
Right.
Where was the man at?
Yeah.
Then they're talking about stone her. But the whole thing is, in this walk, we're learning.
Yep, we're living and learning.
And there are some of us that want to be right. They want to know what Yahweh is showing us.
Hallelujah.
All right? And that's a good thing. Verse 30.
And when Phinehas the priest and the princes of the congregation and heads of the 1,000 of Israel which were with him heard the words that the children of Reuben and the children of Gad and the children of Messiah spake, it pleased them.
Said, and when Phinehas HaKohen and HaNasi of the congregation and heads of the 1,000 of Israel which were with him, Shamar the Dabar, that Haban of Reuben and Haban of Gad and Haban of Manasseh Amar, it pleased them. Because it's like, okay, it pleased us to take that star down until there was some kind of research shown and resolution. Didn't nobody stiffen up their back and, you understand? But there was just a question asked and nothing else.
Right.
Until Yahweh resolved.
Hallelujah.
And I just praise him for doing it like he did.
Yes.
All right? And it said, it pleased the children of Israel with the words that this is the Kohen, Phinehas, talking about the Levitical tribe that came, and the princes, because they were coming against these 3 tribes, saying, okay, what are you doing?
I know, right?
All right? And then when they explained, there was no problem. All right, verse 31.
And Phinehas, the son of Azariah, the priest, said unto the children of Reuben, and to the children of Gad, and to the children of Messiah, this day we perceive that Yahweh is among us, because ye have not committed the trespass against Yahweh now. Ye have delivered the children of Israel out of the hand of Yahweh.
Now, unlike people that were out there talking about we were Satan worshipers, never even darkened the door.
Okay.
So that was just a Hasatan trying to stop Yahweh's word from going forth. Because they got the report that there was somebody out there and then they're talking about, oh, don't go to that temple because they worship in Hasatan.
Okay.
Never been to the temple. But guess what? Yahweh works all things out for our good.
Yes, he does.
Because we're called of him according to his purpose.
Yes,
And we're going to fulfill his purpose.
Yes, we
All
are.
right? It said, and Phinehas, Haban of Eleazar, HaKohen, the Levitical tribe, which we are, the priesthood, Amar unto Haban of Reuben, and to Haban of Gad, and to Haban of Manasseh. These are the tribes that built this altar. This Yom, we perceive. See, Yahweh heightened their spiritual perception.
Right.
That's right.
Yahweh heightened our spiritual
Yes, he has.
perception
That's right,
through the
sister.
sister.
Yes, he will.
That's right.
This day, we perceive that Yahweh is among us.
Yes, he is.
Because ye have not committed this trespass against Yahweh.
Okay.
They thought it was a trespass, it wasn't. They were building this altar as a memorial or something between them and the other tribes. It had nothing to do with Yahweh. It says, now ye have delivered my band of Israel out of the hand of Yahweh. Because there are things that we can do that cause other people to suffer.
Right.
Yahweh doesn't want his people to suffer. But there are things that happen where Yahweh shows, okay, when we misstep on the way to the kingdom, doesn't mean Yahweh has turned his back on
No, it
us.
doesn't.
People will tell you that, but you have to understand how Yahweh thinks about you.
Okay.
What Yahweh is doing with you.
That says
And
Yahweh.
if you think that you're never going to make a mistake, then we feel sorry for you.
I know, right?
Because you're in for it.
All right.
All right? It might not be the same mistake that I make,
Right.
but trust me. And again, don't fall back on this thing that some people are saying, well, you're in the flesh, you're going to sin. That's a lie.
That's a lie.
You don't have to.
You sure prove
Don't
that.
take a cop out just because you have a flesh and blood body. As the Ark just said, Yahshua proved that you don't have to. All right? But see, we don't know everything. We're still learning.
That's right.
All right? Let's
What
go to
about
the New
this
Testament, to Galatians. New Testament, Galatians. So when we misstep on our way to the kingdom, it does not mean that Yahweh is not with us.
That's right.
Unlike whatever people there were out there saying, who we worshiping, and they never came in here not once to find out. Galatians 6. We want to read the first verse.
Hallelujah.
Galatians 6 and verse 1.
Brethren, if a man be overtaken in a fault, ye which are spiritual, restore such an one in the spirit of meekness, considering thyself, lest thou also be tempted.
Okay.
All right, now,
Okay.
here's Yahweh saying, if Adam, and he's talking to his people, he said,
Right.
brethren, brothers and sisters,
Right.
if a Adam be overtaken in a fault, miss the mark,
Right.
ye which are spiritual.
Okay.
Those of us that understand, Yahweh is about restoration.
Hallelujah.
He's not about beating down. He's not about pointing out the wrong things that somebody's doing
That's
to
right.
discourage them,
That's
to
awesome.
stop them. All right? It says, those of us that are spiritual, restore,
Hallelujah.
bring back,
That right.
build them up, let them know, hey, it's all right. We all do it.
That's right.
You're still on your way to the kingdom.
That's it.
That's right.
Restore such an akkad in the ruach of meekness. And
Okay.
again, meekness is not weakness.
Oh no.
Meekness is in recognizing that we're all children of Yahweh. We're on our way to the kingdom. I remember there was a time when we didn't wear tzitzits
Right.
and we didn't wear the mikbah,
Right. Right.
the
Right.
headgear. The man didn't. The women did, but they didn't really understand the fullness of it.
Okay.
Now we understand what the priestly garment is about.
That's
Right.
it.
That's right.
All right, because Yahweh has shown us. But on the way to the kingdom, you may have a little something that's not Yahweh. Well, you let go of that when you find out it's
That
not
right.
Yahweh.
That right.
I'm not going to act like I'm a European just because I don't understand the fullness of what's about Yahweh. When Yahweh shows me some Hebrew, I'm going to speak the Hebrew as much as I can.
Hallelujah.
Because I am a
Praise
Hebrew.
That right.
All right, so they have their choice to do that.
That's it.
But again, I'm not going to come up in here looking like a European.
That's right.
Especially on the weekend when I'm at the temple.
Okay.
When I can wear garb, we don't exactly know what the garb looked like. But
That's right.
I understand it didn't look like a business suit.
Right.
I understand it didn't look like a mini skirt. I understand it didn't look like something that's going to show my cleavage.
Right. Right.
All right?
Hallelujah.
It says, we restore that person in the spirit of meekness.
Yes.
Because I think about myself,
Right.
lest I also get into a
That
trap.
right. You better
And Yahweh
recognize.
says it's not possible to see the very elect, but temporarily they could be in a little
Right.
thing where they need to correct that.
Right. Right.
And Yahweh's going to correct it.
Hallelujah.
He's not going to come with a baseball bat. He's not going to hold you up in the front of everybody
Right.
No.
and talk about how ignorant and backward you are.
Right. Right.
He's not going to say, hey, you're the head of the temple, you ought to know that.
Uh-huh.
All right? Let's go, and we're in the New Testament. Go to 1 Corinthians, the 4th chapter.
Yeah.
1 Corinthians, the 4th chapter. So when we misstep on our way to the kingdom, it does not mean we should be embarrassed or go somewhere to hide.
Right. 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 Right.
That is pride.
That's it.
There you go, sir.
That's
Preach.
Satan,
That's
the devil.
That's right. That's pride.
That's
right.
me thinking about me and what somebody gonna think about me. I don't
Right.
care what
I
nobody
know,
think about
right?
me,
You
but
better recognize.
Yahweh.
Correct me.
Yes,
But
correct.
Yahweh.
He said, don't have the cares of this world.
What we are to do is humble ourselves, repent, submit
That's
to
it.
Yahweh, and continue moving
That's
forward.
it.
That's why when the question was asked, in the spirit of, okay, now we're going to sit down, we're going to discuss this.
Right. Right. Right.
That never happened.
Okay.
But as soon as the question was asked, I heard the Ruach say, take that down so as not to offend.
Hallelujah.
That's right.
To encourage my
That's
people.
right. That's right.
Let's sit down, let's discuss the
That's
research, and
reason
let's
amongst
do
each other.
this thing
Right.
decently and in order.
That's the way it's supposed to be.
Decent
Well,
and in order.
that didn't quite work out, but Yahweh always has plan B.
Yes, he
Right.
does.
Yes.
And really, that must have been plan A.
That
Right?
was it.
Because if it was supposed to work out the way it was, and Brother Anna did ask, okay, are you ready to discuss?
Hallelujah.
Are you ready to, so
Right.
we can go through this?
That's right.
And he was told, oh, it's settled. So again, Yahweh did it the way that it
Yeah, now
was
it's
supposed
settled.
to. Okay?
He got his
We're not
way
upset
of
with
doing
anybody.
No, we're not.
But the whole thing is, we're just keeping our eye on Yahweh.
That's
That's
it.
right.
Okay? 1 Corinthians 4, let's start at verse 19.
Hallelujah.
So again, it's not time to go somewhere and be embarrassed and hide. That's pride. That's pride.
That's right.
I'm not in the devil's camp. I'm in Yahweh's camp. I'm staying in
Never
Yahweh's
ever
camp.
again.
All right, 1 Corinthians 4, let's read verse 19, please.
I will come to you shortly, if the master will and will know not the speech of them which are puffed up, but the power.
Verse 20.
For the kingdom of Yahweh is not in the word, but in the power.
All right, so this is what it's about. Us wanting to stay right with Yahweh.
Right.
It says, but I will come to you shortly if Yahweh will, and will yada not the speech of them which are puffed up,
All right.
but the marshal, the power.
All right. No
How do we
pride.
stay in the power of Yahweh? We keep staying on track with Yahweh.
Hit the
We keep
bar.
being in obedience with Yahweh. If we find out we're out of step with Yahweh, we step back in.
Right, right,
It's as
right.
simple as that.
That's it.
That's
For
right.
my Malkuth of Elohim is not in the bar, but in my shell.
Yeah.
It's not in me doing a lot of talking
That's right.
about explaining and trying to justify something. When Yahweh puts it in front of us and we see it, then it's time to say, hey, okay, is this of Yahweh or is this not?
Right, right.
If there's any question, we want to err on the side of caution.
That's
That's
it.
right.
Like my Ish, he would err on the side of caution.
Praise the mighty God for
the holy days, when they would come and we would be here the night part and we would eat, then if he wanted something hot from the holy day, he would wait till the holy day was over.
That right.
Now you do what you do what you want to do. I'm just saying.
Right, right.
He would err on the side of caution, or he would eat it cold. He would only eat the hot food when it was served here at the temple on the holy day. All right?
Praise the
If
mighty
he wanted it to be hot, he would wait until the holy day was over.
Right, right.
Then he would heat it up again.
Hallelujah.
But I'm just saying, this is how we are. So he would always err on the side of caution. All right? And that's a good practice.
Yes, it
Yahweh
is.
said, hey, if the righteous scarcely be saved,
Okay.
where will the sinner and the unrighteous be? They won't. They won't appear. Verse 21.
What will ye? Shall I come unto you with a rod, or in love and in the spirit of meekness?
So, here is Yahweh's man saying, okay, which would you prefer?
I know, right?
That I come to you with a baseball bat? Or in a have, in love?
Right.
That's right.
Or in the ruach of meekness?
That's right.
Yahweh said, you're supposed to come to me in the ruach of meekness.
That's right.
Now, if Yahweh said that, then I'm not going to require less. And the same for me. That's,
All right.
that's how I'm supposed to come to you.
Hallelujah.
Why? Because it's not about somebody showing somebody up or whatever motive we might have that's not from Yahweh. It's about encouraging and restoring his people to go
That's
on
right.
and do what he called us
That's
to.
That's
it.
right. That's
All right,
right.
let's go to the Old Testament, Deuteronomy, the 29th chapter. Say, yeah, what would you prefer? The rod or the spirit of meekness? Deuteronomy 29. And we're going to read one verse, verse 4. Deuteronomy 29. Let's read verse 4, please.
Yet Yahweh hath not given you an heart to perceive, and eyes to see, and ears to hear, unto this day.
Now, he's talking to ancient Israel. Well, he's given us, he told them, Yahweh had not given you a pay or ruach to perceive, and eyes to see, and ears to hear unto this Yom. Well, all that changed. We've been brought back to Yahweh.
That's right.
We are now
Sure can.
righteous. This verse in Deuteronomy is talking about the spiritual perception of our minds.
Discernment.
Yahweh has given us, unlike ancient Israel, because Yahweh told them, oh, that they had the mind to perceive. Oh, that they had the heart to do right.
Right, right.
We got it.
Hallelujah. Praise be
Those of us that
God.
Ruach HaKodesh, we have everything we need and more to do right, to know when somebody's telling us right,
All right.
to know when they're telling us the right
Spirit
way,
of discernment.
Yes.
to know when to listen and when not to.
Right.
Thank you.
So this is talking about the spiritual perception
Hallelujah.
that Yahweh has given us
Yeah, right, so damn.
to read the
Tell it like it is.
circumstances we encounter
That's right.
for what they mean and what to do about them, if
Hallelujah.
anything.
Hallelujah.
Whatever we encounter,
Yes.
whatever circumstances,
Whatever
whatever's
comes
going
our
on,
way.
Yahweh has given us the spiritual perception to be able to read it,
Yes.
Hallelujah.
to see beyond it,
Yes.
to know what it's all about.
That right.
Hallelujah.
All right, let's go to in the Old Testament, Ecclesiastes, the 8th chapter. So our forefathers didn't have it, but we have it.
Yes, we do.
Yahweh wants us to know we have it.
Yes, he does.
He wants us to know that we don't have to rely on our natural mind
Not
to tell us
anymore.
what anything means.
Okay.
All we have to do is just seek Him.
That's it.
And we're going to find out sometimes He'll give us a spiritual perception and we don't understand what it means. What we do is we go ask Yahweh, okay, Yahweh, I'm picking this up. What does this mean?
Right,
That's
right.
right.
And He'll tell you.
That's what he said.
Ecclesiastes, the 8th chapter, we're going to read one verse, verse 11.
Hallelujah.
Ecclesiastes 8, let's read verse 11, please.
Because sentence against an evil work is not executed speedily, therefore the heart of the sons of men is fully set in them to do evil.
Now,
That's right.
we don't treat Yahweh's people like that.
Uh-uh.
It's talking about the sons of men.
Huh.
Ban Adam. This is
Okay.
talking about people that are apart from Yahweh. People that don't know Yahweh. Their mind is fully set to do evil. Right, because that's all they're thinking about. How do I feel? What do I want to do today? What's going to make me feel good?
Okay.
What can I eat that'll taste good?
Yeah.
All right, this is not talking about you and me.
Okay.
It says, because sentence against a raw work is not executed speedily, because our Father is so gracious and
Yeah.
merciful and kind and loving
Yeah, that's right.
and forgiving.
That's what it
Therefore
is.
it says, then the mind of man is fully set in him to do right, to do evil. But that's not you.
Not
That's
anymore.
Nor should somebody be coming to you if you have made a misstep, acting like your mind is fully set to do evil.
I know,
When
right?
you understand, they don't understand who you are.
No, they do not.
That's right.
All right? So don't allow yourself to be treated like some of these people that are out here not trying to do right, not trying to serve Yahweh.
Right?
And again, we're all at different stages in
Right,
learning.
right. Got right. So
And Yahweh wants us to understand who we are,
Yes, he does.
and that we are pursuing Yahweh hard. We want to do right. We
Yeah.
want to be right.
Yeah.
We want to find out everything is not like Yahweh and
right.
get rid of it. Lay
Hallelujah.
aside every weight.
Hallelujah.
Like we just read on the Shabbat Layil. All right, let's go to, in the Old Testament, 2 Samuel. So again, let's not get confused about who we are. We're not those people that are fully set on doing evil.
Uh-uh.
No, we're fully set on doing right.
That's it. That's on our mind, Dave. God
2
and liar.
Samuel, the 5th chapter. So King David was not an evil man.
No.
He wanted to do what was right.
Yes.
And it was through spiritual perception that he saw that it was time for him to transition into sitting on the throne and being king. 2 Samuel, the 5th chapter. We're going to read one verse, verse 5. 2 Samuel, the 5th chapter, and verse 5. And if you recall now, he had opportunity because the first king, King Shaul, was upset that Yahweh had anointed David to be king. And he tried to kill David.
He sure did.
And he even took soldiers and pursued after David. And David, because he wanted to be right, there was opportunity that he got.
Yes, he did.
When King Shaul was asleep in the cave and the soldiers, and he went in and he either cut off his zitzit or a corner of his robe,
Right,
King
right.
Shaul's robe. But he could have killed him.
Right?
Right.
But he didn't. He wanted to do right.
Yes, he did.
And he knows
Yes,
you don't
did.
touch Yahweh's anointed.
That's right.
You do his Nabi, his prophets, no harm.
That says
And
Yahweh.
then what happened was, he went back to where he was, and then he called out to King Shaul and,
Right.
and let him know, hey, I could have took your life today.
Right, right.
But all I did was cut your garment. But guess what? Yahweh convicted him about doing that little thing, cutting his garment.
Uh-huh.
He realized it was wrong. He spiritually perceived, you know what, I shouldn't have done that. When you want to be right, Yahweh is working with you. He lets you know.
Hallelujah.
It's hard to do wrong.
All right.
Hallelujah.
But don't let the devil beat you up after something's been done.
Right.
Like I was on the web and I saw on the podium, there's some videos that we have uploaded. And it has a star on the corner. I'm not taking no videos down.
Right.
Whoever goes on the web and sees that star up there, excuse me, and want to flip the channel, flip it.
Right.
Flip it. Do it just like the remote.
Yeah.
Flip it. Flip it. All right? So if we can't, get the word, just like somebody when they see Ishshah standing up here, a woman, flip it.
Right.
Hey, it's all good.
That's right.
Yahweh's word is still going forth.
Yes, it is.
Okay? And we mean you no harm.
That's right.
2 Samuel 5, let's read verse 12, please.
And David perceived that Yahweh had established him king over Israel, and that he had exalted his kingdom for his people, Israel's sake.
All right, so there was a time when he uses Yahweh, let him know through spiritual perception. Now it's time for you to go on the throne. But before then, he had to run for his life.
Right.
Because King Shaul was after him with the soldiers. It wasn't time. Even though he had been anointed
Right.
to be Melech, it wasn't time for him to sit on the throne. But it says, and David perceived that Yahweh had amat, or established him Melech over Yisrael, and that he had exalted his Malkut for his Yisrael's sake. It was the right time.
Right.
Just like last Shabbat was the right time for that to come to a head.
That's right.
All right, let's go to the New Testament, John, the 19th chapter. The New Testament, John 19. So King David misstepped on his way to the kingdom, and Yahweh restored him. John 19, John or Yachanan, the 19th chapter. And we want to read verse 27.
Yahweh.
It says, my sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me. Verse 28. And I give unto them eternal life, and they shall never perish. Neither shall any man pluck them out of my hand. Verse 29. My Father, who gave them me, is greater than all, and no Adam is able to pluck them out of my Father's hand. So here we see Yahweh is about restoration.
Yes, he is.
His people are in his hand. And when we misstep, what Satan wants to do is take that to an advantage and try to pluck us out of Yahweh's hand. We can rest and be confident. It says nobody can pluck them out of the Father's hand because we're listening to Yahweh's voice. We're listening to Yahshua's voice. All right? Let's go back to the Old Testament, and we will find that scripture.
Okay.
Let's go back to the Old Testament, 2 Samuel, the 12th chapter. So King David misstepped, but Yahweh restored him. And Yahweh gave the prophet Nathan spiritual perception of how to approach the king.
Okay.
See, because he's a king. So we need spiritual perception of how to approach Yahweh's people.
Okay.
To awaken David's spiritual perception of his need to get back in right standing with Yahweh. He didn't even realize he was out of right standing with Yahweh.
Okay.
All right? So he gave this Nabi, this prophet Nathan, it was John 10, the spiritual perception later. 2 Samuel, 12th chapter. And we want to start at verse 1. 2 Samuel 12.
And Yahweh sent Nathan unto David, and he came unto him and said unto him, there were two men in one city, the one rich and the other poor.
Now here's the Nabi, Natan. It says he came unto King David. But Yahweh sent him, right?
Right.
See, when Yahweh sends you, you come in the spirit of meekness.
Yeah.
And he came unto David and Amar to him. There were two Adam in Akkad city. Akkad was rich and the other was poor. All right, so he's telling him this parable.
Right.
All right. using spiritual perception. Yahweh told him exactly how to say it and how to do it.
Hallelujah.
Because when we try to do things in our own perception and our own, I remember years ago we were in unity with this body, this temple, and they are no longer, going. And they were coming to Yahweh and Yahshua's temple, and they had an anglicized name for their temple. And then after about 6 months, the brothers came to Micaiah because we had them sponsor this program that we were sponsoring from Missouri in the name. And he was a Gentile, but he stressed that the name was Yahshua.
Hallelujah.
And Yahweh.
Hallelujah.
And so we had them sponsor it in Chicago because we moved out of Chicago. And then they came asking Micaiah, well, how come you didn't tell us that the Father's name is Yahweh? How come you didn't tell us that the Son's name is Yahshua? And he said, because Yahweh didn't tell me to. He said, you come to the temple, it's right there.
Right.
It's right there. But see, again, just like the sister said through the Ruach last week, I wanted to, but it just wasn't the right time.
That's right. Praise the mighty
You
God.
understand?
Yeah.
This is what we do.
Yeah.
That's Yahweh giving us wisdom to go in and
Hallelujah.
out among his people.
That's right.
All right? So here's this man now. He's telling Dawid this parable. Verse 2. 12 and 2.
The rich man had exceedingly many flocks and herds,
3.
but the poor man had nothing save one little awi lamb, which he had bought and nourished up, and it grew up together with him, and with his children it did eat of his own meat, and drank of his own cup, and lay in his bosom, and was unto him as a daughter.
Now he's saying, okay, this rich man had a whole bunch of flocks and herds. Then this poor man had this one little ewe lamb.
No, right?
And he had it in his bosom as a daughter. All right, so he's painting a picture. Now, if you're unrighteous, you're not going to see what this Nabi is saying.
Can't see it.
All right, verse 4.
And there came a traveler unto the rich man, and he spared to take of his flock and of his own herd to dress for the wayfaring man that was come unto him, but took the poor man's lamb and dressed it for a man that was come to him.
Now he's saying, okay, now this rich man, he went and took this poor man's one little lamb, and to treat his guests or whatever it was. Now, when you are righteous, there's such a thing as righteous indignation.
Okay.
Look at how David's righteous indignation. See, Yahweh was using this spiritual perception that he gave the prophet to cause that righteous indignation to flare up in David. Because he didn't realize he was in error.
Right.
Even though it seems obvious to people looking from the outside.
Yes, that's how they do it.
Again, looking from the outside, things seem so obvious.
Yes, yeah.
All right, verse 5.
And David's anger was greatly kindled against the man, and he said to Nathan, as Yahweh liveth, the man that have done this thing shall surely die.
Verse 6.
And he shall restore the lamb fourfold, because he did this thing, and because he had no pity.
So David said, the unrighteous buzzard, how dare you do that? See? So Yahweh put it in a neutral context, so David, that righteousness could be, he could stir it up in him and see it. And David's anger was greatly kindled against that rich man that did that. And he amarred to Natan, as Yahweh Kayah, Ha'adam that had done this thing shall surely move. He's wrong as two left shoes.
Right.
And he shall restore the lamb fourfold. He gonna make him give him back four lambs.
Fourfold. Give him more.
Because he did this thing and he had no pity.
Okay.
He said, that's wrong, wrong. All right, verse 7.
And Nathan said to David, thou art the man.
Whoa! See? So he opened his eyes, his spiritual perception first.
Right.
Then he came back and said, It's you, King.
Right?
Go ahead.
Thus said Yahweh, Elohim of Israel, I anointed three kings over Israel, and I delivered thee out of the hands of Saul.
All right, he said, and Natan, Amar to Dawid, thou art Ha-Adam. You the one I'm talking about. The rich man with all these flocks and herds. And you went and took this poor man one little lamb.
Right?
He said, thus Amar Yahweh Elohim of Yisrael, I anointed you Melech over Yisrael. So we understand, hey, when we're confronted with something and we made a misstep, we always understand, hey, Yahweh is the one that's in charge here.
Right,
Okay.
right.
What is Yahweh doing? What does Yahweh want me to see? What does Yahweh want me to do?
Hallelujah.
It says, and I delivered you out of the hand of Shaul. Let me let you know now who's got the credentials. Let me flash my badge.
Right?
All right, verse 8.
And I gave thee thy master's house, and thy master's wives unto thy bosom, and gave thee the house of Israel and of Judah, that if that had been too little, I would moreover have given unto thee such and such things.
So he's recounting how good he was. He's reading David's mail.
Right.
All right? He's letting him know. Hey, you're wrong. He's telling, look, I gave you your master's Bayit, I gave you your master's Ishshah, I gave you the Bayit of Yisrael and of Yehuda. He said, and that was too little, all you had to do was come ask me for some
That's
more.
it.
That's right.
All right? But see, he understands he's dealing with a righteous man. This is Yahweh. And remember now, Yahweh sent this man.
Right.
It's not the man standing up there slapping David back and forth. No, this is spiritual, something spiritual that's happening.
Right, right.
All right?
Trying to
Because Yahweh
correct.
said, we're his sheep, we hear his voice.
Right?
And another we don't hear. All right, verse 9.
Wherefore hast thou despised the commandment of Yahweh to do evil in his sight? Thou hast killed Joram the Hittite with the sword, and have taken his wife to be thy wife, and hast slain him with the sword of the children of Ammon.
Verse 10.
Now therefore the sword shall never depart from thine house, because thou hast despised me, and hast taken the wife of Uriah the Hittite to be thy wife.
He said, wherefore have you despised our mitzvah of Yahweh to do raw in his sight? And again, it's all about Yahweh watching us. I was telling somebody in an email this week, if you think I'm lying writing to you, if you think somebody else is having me reach out to you, I said, I have a higher authority to respond to. You know, Yahweh had to have me read their mail. It's like, okay, you're going to come and tell me all this other stuff this other person did to you and your children. I said, look, we got over the abusive things that our parents said to us. I said, your children to get over it too. And I said, if you think I'm responding to your email, because actually they reached out and touched me. And I said, and if you think I'm responding to your email, remember, I'm more like you than the person that you're talking about. So in other words, you're the one that'll stand up and confront people and do. I said, now I'm just like you. Now let me just tell you, if you think I'm lying and I'm trying to set something up between you and this person, and you don't want to see the person, I said, think again. I said, because that's between you and your Elohim, but I have a higher authority that's watching me.
Praise the mighty Yah.
That's between you and the people you're dealing with.
Right.
So if you're dealing with some people and they could lie to you or whatever, I said, I'm not the one.
Right.
Because I know my father's watching.
Yep, like I said, you ain't gonna break his mitzvah.
So he said, why have you despised the commandment of Yahweh to do evil in his sight? You have killed Uriah the Hittite with the sword. You've taken his Ishshah to be your Ishshah. You slain him with the sword of the band of children of Ammon.
Right.
Now therefore the sword shall never depart from your body. So you reap that, now you sowed that, now you're going to reap it in your mouth.
That's
That's
it.
the consequence.
Yes, it is.
Because what? You despise Yahweh.
Yeah,
And again, people make assumptions that we're despising Yahweh, but that's on them.
Right.
You know what they say about people that assume?
Assume
Well, you break it down. There you go. Let's go to, we're in 2 Samuel the 11th chapter. Let's go up to verse 1. So now, King David lusted. He committed adultery.
That's all it was.
2 Samuel 11. He schemed to cover up his adultery. Now, he could have been there. Okay. And he premeditated, and because of his position, ordered other people to carry out the
Yes, he
murder
did.
of this man with him. So he involved other people. All
Right.
right, 2 Samuel 11, and we're going to start at verse 1. please.
Hallelujah.
And it came to pass, after the year was expired at the time, when the kings go forth to battle, that David sent Jobab and his servants with him, and all Israel, and they destroyed the children of Ammon, and besieged Rabbah. But David tarried still at Jerusalem.
Verse 2.
And it came to pass in an eventide that David arose from off his bed and walked upon the roof of the king's house. And from the roof he saw a woman washing herself, and the woman was very beautiful to look upon.
All right, so now all the men are out to war.
All right.
King David is at the palace. It says, verse 2, it came to pass in the evening that David got up off his bed. He walked upon the roof of the palace. And from the roof he saw a woman bathing herself. And she was very beautiful to look on. Now Yahweh tells us what to do. And it's not only men that can be lusting.
That's right.
Women can do it too.
Yeah.
Let's go to the New Testament. We're going to come back here to 2 Samuel, so keep your finger there. To Matthew's, the 5th chapter. We're going to go to the New Testament, but we're coming back to 2 Samuel, the 11th chapter. So he saw she was very beautiful. What was he supposed to do? He wasn't just supposed to keep looking.
No.
2 Samuel 5. Because if he did, then he was going to sin.
That's right.
I'm sorry, Matthew's 5, excuse me. Matthew's 5. We're going to start at verse 27.
Hallelujah.
Matthew's 5. So this was King David's first misstep. He looked at the woman. He did not turn away or cast his imagination down.
That's it.
And he started lusting after her.
Got to beat down that
All
flesh
right,
every
Matthew's
day, all
5,
day.
verse 27, please.
Ye have heard that it was said by them of old time, Thou shalt not commit adultery.
28.
But I say unto you, that whoever looketh on a woman to lust after her have committed adultery with her already in his heart.
All right, so David, he did it. He looked at her, and his imagination, he let it go. He didn't stop.
He didn't stop it.
And here Yahshua is bringing it up to a higher point.
Yeah.
It says, "You are Shemar, that it was a mar of them of old time." That was the Old Testament. The Ibryi. All right, now this is the Kodash. We'll read the New Testament. He's saying all you have to do is look and not turn away.
Right, right.
And let that thought meditate. And he said, whosoever looks unto a Ishshah to lust after her hath committed adultery with her already in his mind.
All
In
right.
other words, it's just a matter of time before he carries it out.
That's it.
This is the perfect illustration
Yes, it is.
that Yahweh is showing us.
Praise the mighty God.
Now remember, King David was a righteous man.
That's
right.
Yahweh wants us to see our humanity, but at the same time, don't fall back and say, I'm in the flesh, I'm going to sin. Stop it. Don't do that either.
That's right.
Just realize when you make a mistake, if you make a mistake,
That's it. Right.
fall on your
Right here.
knees and ask Yahweh for forgiveness
That's right.
and go on.
That's
And keep
right.
it moving.
All right, read verse 29.
And if thy right eye offend thee, pluck it out, and cast it from thee, for it is profitable for thee that one of thy members should perish, and not that thy whole body should be cast into Galilee.
All right, so he's saying if your main eye offend you, pluck it out. So he said it would have been better for David to pluck his eyes out
Right.
than to
Get
let that
rid of it.
imagination come to the full.
Yep.
And pluck it out, throw it away from you, for it's profitable for you that Akana, your members should perish, and that not that your whole Gibeah
Right.
should be cast into the lake of fire.
Right, right.
All right, let's go back to 2 Samuel, the 11th chapter. So we saw her on the roof. She was very beautiful.
Uh-huh.
He kept letting that beauty play into his mind.
Right, that sinking through his face.
And shot himself in the foot. Shot himself right in the foot.
Yeah.
2 Samuel 11, let's start at verse 3, please.
Praise the mighty Yah.
And David sent and inquired after the woman, and one said, Is not this Bathsheba, the daughter of Elohim, the wife of Uriah the Hittite?
Oh, now, here we go. Here, David, let his mind
Take
play on that.
over.
And he said, and he asked who this woman was. Again, he's pursuing this wickedness now.
Right,
He's
right,
wrong now because he's in lust.
right.
And Akkad Amar is not this Bathsheba, Habath of Eliam, Ishshah. Now he finds out she's somebody's wife.
Right.
So all of these red flags are popping up.
I know, right?
But again, we can get in a position where
Yeah.
the red flags pop up
That's right.
and we kind of don't see them.
Yeah.
Right.
But praise Yahweh, He makes sure that we get back right on track.
That's right, immediately.
All right? She's the wife of Uriah the Hittite. All right? But did that stop him? Verse 4.
And David sent messengers, and took her, and she came in unto him, and he lay with her, for she was purified from her uncleanness, and she returned unto her house.
All right, so now he's the king.
Right?
When he sent for somebody, they got to come.
They got to do it.
All right? And she came into him, and he lay with her. And it says, just in case somebody's thinking you can deal with a woman when she's on her cycle, no, you can't.
Right?
It says she was purified from her,
Right? Thus says
her
Yahweh.
cycle. And after he lay with her, it says she went back to her own body. All right? We're in the Old Testament, let's go to Exodus. So these were David's next missteps. And adultery is one of the big 10.
Oh,
Like people
yeah.
say, oh, you know, the 10 commandments, they're bigger than the others, but they're all big.
They all
But
are.
anyway, adultery is one of the big 10.
Yeah.
That's right.
So he committed adultery. Exodus 20, you're going to read one verse. Verse 14.
Hallelujah.
Exodus 20, verse 14.
Thou shalt not commit adultery.
All right, this is Yahweh talking now.
Uh-huh.
These are the ones that he put on the tablets of stone.
That's
He
right.
said, thou shalt not
Shall not.
commit adultery. So David knew.
Yeah, it
Again,
is.
the red flags can pop up.
Right.
Let's go to Leviticus. That's the Old Testament. That's just the next book over to the right. Leviticus, the 20th chapter. So he knew the 10 mitzvah.
Yeah, he did.
Because he was burning by that time. Burning having his way.
Yeah.
Let that
It
thing
was in
stay
his
too long.
pay and his
There
leg.
you go. And he was a righteous man. Remember that now? He was
Yeah.
a righteous man.
Got caught up.
Leviticus 20, let's read one verse. Verse 10.
Hallelujah.
Leviticus 20. And verse 10, please.
And the man that commit adultery with another man's wife, even he that committed adultery with his neighbor's wife, the adulterer and the adulteress shall surely be put to death.
Now they were in the land of Israel.
Yeah.
So really,
David should have been.
what do they call it now? He should have been on death row, but what do they call it? Where they're sentenced to die no matter what. But either way, it says, and Adam that committed adultery with another, Adam Ishshah, even he that committed adultery with his neighbor's Ishshah, Uriah the Hittite was his neighbor, that was
Right.
his Ishshah. The adulterer and the adulteress, both of them, shall surely be put to Mavet, death,
Uh-huh.
stoned to death.
Yeah.
So he did something that was worthy of being stoned to
Yup,
death.
yup.
He did.
All right.
Gospel.
Let's go back to 2 Samuel, the 11th chapter. This just shows us how merciful and how much
Yep, that's
Yahweh
it.
wants us to be restored.
Hallelujah.
2 Samuel 11. And this time we're going to start at verse 5.
Hallelujah.
Now here Yahweh steps in and complicates things. David thought he had gotten away.
I know, right?
1 Samuel 11. And let's read verse 5, please.
Hallelujah.
And the woman conceived and sent and told David and said, I am with child.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. What's done in the dark will come to light.
Yes, it is. Thus says Yahweh.
You know Yahweh's watching the whole thing.
Yeah.
David was in deception about it. And the woman conceived and sent and told David and Amar, I'm pregnant.
Okay.
I am with Zakar.
Uh-huh.
Verse 6.
And David sent to Joab, saying, send me Arah the Hittite. And Joab sent Arah to David.
All right, now here David, now he starts scheming.
I know,
Okay,
right?
now how can
I
I cover
know,
this
right?
up? And again, he's a righteous man.
Uh-huh.
Just like we're righteous people.
Hallelujah.
It's just he didn't see it.
No.
He didn't spiritually perceive it.
Right into the flesh.
All right? Says David sent to Joab. Now this is the general in the army where they're fighting.
Right.
And he and Amar, send me Uriah the Hittite. And Joab sent Uriah to David. Okay, Joab didn't know what he wanted. Uriah didn't know what he wanted.
Right.
But the king asked you to come. What do? You come. Verse 7.
And when Uriah was come unto him, David demanded of him how Joab did, and how the people did, and how the war prospered.
All right, so David pretended like he wanted to know about the war, and
Right.
he's demanding and letting him kind of throwing his weight around, letting him know, hey, I'm the king, and I sent for you. So
Yeah.
he's really playing the game. All
Right.
right.
Right. Scheme.
Right. Verse 8.
And David said to Uriah, go down to thy house and wash thy feet. And Uriah departed out of the king's house, and there followed him a mess of mint from the king.
All right, so it said David and Amar to Uriah, okay, go down to your bite. He's saying, okay, well maybe he'll take the chance and have a quickie with his wife.
Right. That's
Then
what
all
he
of
was
this will be
hoping
covered
for.
up. But as Yahweh would have it, Uriah was a righteous man.
Yeah.
He was a Hittite,
Honorable.
but he was a righteous man.
That's right.
It says, go down to your house, wash your feet. Uriah departed out of the king's palace, and there followed him. The king sent him a whole bunch of food.
I know, right?
All right?
I know.
What is it, a guilt present? Okay, verse 9.
But Uriah slept at the door of the king's house with all the servants of his servants, and went not down to his house.
Says, but Uriah slept at the palace door with all the Ebed of his master, and went not down to his bite. He didn't go to his house.
Okay.
All right, we're in the Old Testament. Let's go to Psalms 37. So King David, he made more missteps. We see these missteps that he's making. He later described his thinking in Psalms after Yahweh restored him.
Praise the mighty Yah.
Psalms 37. He's talking about himself right here. And he's talking about how Satan was plotting against him. Psalms 37. Let's start at verse 12, please.
Hallelujah.
The wicked plotted against the just, and gasped upon him with his teeth.
It says, Zerah, the Layil, plotted against the Sadiq, and gnasheth upon him with his teeth. Why? Trying to get him to fall. Trying to get him to focus so much on himself. And what he did or what he didn't do. All right? Yahweh said the focus is not supposed to be on us. It's supposed to stay on Yahweh.
It's on him all the time.
It's not about you.
No
It's
matter
not
what.
about me. It's about Yahweh.
About God's will.
The wicked plotted against the just and bites on him with his teeth. He does his best.
Yeah.
But what Yahweh doing? Yahweh laughing. Why? Because Yahweh's going to restore us.
Hallelujah.
Yahweh's
Yes, he
gonna bring
has.
us
Yes, he
back.
will.
Verse 13.
My servant shall laugh at him, for he seeth that this day is coming.
All right, so he's talking about Yahweh laughing at him.
Right.
Saying Yahweh shall laugh. And see, she's reading this translation that sometimes, they did good replacing the name, but sometimes they get off with different things. It says Yahweh's the one that's going to laugh at him. He said, for he said that his Yom is coming.
Right,
All
right.
right, you think you trying to chew up my people?
Uh-huh.
I see you headed for that cliff right over
Okay,
there.
that's
All right,
right.
he's laughing at them.
That's
All
right.
right, verse 14.
The wicked have drawn out the sword, and have bit their brow to cast down the poor and needy, and to slay such as be of upright conversation.
15.
Their sword shall enter unto their own heart, and their brows shall be broken.
All right, let's go back to 2 Samuel 11. So it says, the Ra or the Layil have drawn out the sword and have bent their bow to cast down the poor and needy. See, he's talking about himself. That was what he was doing against Uriah. To cast down the poor and needy and to slay such as be of tamain conversation, an upright life.
Right, right.
We saw he sent Uriah back to his house, but he stayed right there at the door of the
That's
king's
right.
palace. He wasn't going to go there. He said, their sword, whatever they're plotting against somebody else, is going to enter into their own mind, their
Amen.
own possessions, and their
That's
bows
right.
shall be broken. 2
That's right.
Samuel 11. Now let's start at verse 10. 2 Samuel 11. Let's read verse 10, please.
And when they had told David, saying, Uriah went not down unto his house, David said unto Uriah, camest thou not from thy journey? Why then didst thou not go down unto thine house?
Now David, like he's puzzled. He's
Right.
saying, when they told David, Amar Uriah didn't go down his by David, Amar to Uriah, camest thou not from thy journey? Why then didn't you go down to your bed? Why didn't you go to your house? See, when other people are in lust or in different things, then they trying to figure out how come you're not like this
Right.
person I received the email from.
Right.
The person I received the email from is into lying and cheating and stealing.
Yeah,
And they-
Right.
How come you don't
I
smoke?
know.
How come you're not?
Why you ain't in this mess?
He's asking Uriah, why didn't you go back?
Why didn't you go back to
Come on,
the-
I just knew you were going to go and sleep with your wife.
Right,
and
right,
this
go
was going to
chill.
all be all right. It was never going to be all right
No.
until he saw. King David saw. Why? Because Yahweh loved him.
That's right.
He loves us. It's
Hallelujah.
never going to be all right till we see.
Hallelujah.
We do the right thing.
Hallelujah.
Right, verse
Amen.
11.
And Uriah said unto David, the ark and Israel and Judah abide in tents, and my soldier Job and the servants of my servants are encamped in the open fields. Shall I then go unto mine house to eat and drink, and to drink, and to lie with my wife, as thou livest, and as thy soul liveth? I will not do this thing.
So this is a righteous man
I'd
talking.
like to thank Yahweh for bringing us here once again. This holy Sabbath, Kadesh Sabbath, Kadesh is Hebrew holy on the Sabbath. Yowm, to be with our Chanak, our his sister, our his brother, our his sister, to be in, not saying the congregation of the assembly. Like we all are ministers to ourselves, to others, and that's what it is. Like the brother Lafayette was saying, we never get tired of hearing his word. Day to night. While you dreaming, sleeping, it's all good. And this temple is just like our temple. Pure love.